Welcome back to Faith and Conviction, and I'm glad you have joined us, and I'm glad you're tuned in. And if you have a comment or a suggestion, feel free to email it to me or post it below, and let's talk a little bit about what life is and what the Bible is, and if God's true, and what He says through His truth. But I kind of want to give you a little bit of an idea of how I've come to be where I am in this situation, and why I have felt it kind of a good thing that Faith and Conviction has come to be on its own website. First of all, these studies have brought me to a point where I was asking questions about the Bible itself. I was in a Bible class, kind of like a home study group, and we would get together once a week and we would go through the Bible, and we were looking at some of the prophets of the Old Testament. When we were studying these things, I was using the skills that I believed the church had given me. I couldn't answer the questions. None of the answers that came out of my mouth seemed to make sense. We would have extensive discussions in the group. My wife and I would go home. We would have more discussion at home. We were really wrestling with, why do we not seem to have any answers that make sense? So from there, someone had encouraged me to go to a Bible school, and I did go to a Bible school, and there I learned a technique of studying the Bible, and it's in a book by Michael J. Gorman, and it is an exegetical study book about how to study the Bible. And he really helped me, his method really helped me see how to get into the text, and that helped me begin to understand some of the things in the Bible in a much better way. And there is a simple message to the Bible, and I will say that to a degree that is correct. God is the creator. He has a Messiah. Through the Messiah, God redeems all of humanity. I think those who study the Bible and become Christians gather that message. The question is what do we do beyond that? And really, when you study in depth, people get different answers, and these different answers come from many different ways, and I come to understand that that's called theology. People have different theological perspectives. These perspectives create friction. I would rather call it friction than argument. Friction between people who are really trying to understand the Bible, what God wants to say. So Michael Gorman's book really helped me see the simple message that was on the page. It says, Jesus is from Nazareth. Well, where is Nazareth? In what country is that? When did Jesus live? Did he live during the colonial period? Did he live during the ancient world? If so, when? Time period matters. He helps establish the context so we can understand the message. And his method is very good about that. But the other thing that I learned is called covenant. Covenant is a beautiful unfolding of Genesis and Exodus. Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy unfold these things in a way that reveal the covenant. And all of the prophets argue the covenant. How are we holding to that covenant? And this is very important for how do we see that covenant influences the believers in Jesus, because he's not just the giver of the New Testament. I think it kind of hurts us a little bit because we look at the page between Malachi and Matthew and we go, the New Testament. It is the New Testament, but it's also called the New Covenant. And when we really study the beauty of the covenants that are found in Genesis and Exodus and understand the arguments of the prophets about covenant, we can better understand what Jesus is trying to teach us about the new covenant. And those are kind of the things that brought me into where I am. But then I really started studying the Hebrew culture. And I really came to understand in a better perspective that the first church is vastly different than what I was told it was. And these things have helped bring me to where I am. And I kind of want to share that with you just a little bit. And as time gives us, or I should say as God gives us time, as Jehovah permits, we'll go into more details about these things, and hopefully we can share a little bit more detail, and you'll be blessed.